humanity has developed ways to turn nature into tools. Humans learned how to use wood, stone, water, and fire from his parents and passed them on. The artificial items we use today are all technologies inherited from our ancestors. There have been many stages of leap forward in human history. The use of tools and the discovery of fire clearly differentiated humans from other animals. Since the beginning of time, humans have used sounds, facial expressions, and gestures to communicate and interact. Even before we had sophisticated, structured language, we exchanged information and emotions through drawing, dance, and song. Humans wanted to record this information somewhere and pass it on to others. People began to carve information in letters and pictures on walls or write it on animal skins, tree bark, etc. This was very limited in containing information and had limitations in scalability. Papermaking was invented in Asia around the 2nd century AD and spread throughout the world. Since the invention of paper, the influence of information transmission has increased tremendously compared to the past. However, information has always been monopolized by those in power or those close to them. Information is greatly related to the sustainability of power. The development of woodblock printing in the 9th century made rapid reproduction of books possible. Later, in the 15th century, Germany's Johann Gutenberg developed and popularized metal-type printing. These innovations allowed information to be delivered quickly to the public and culture and knowledge to spread. Printing is one of the most important technologies that forms the foundation of today's society. Humans are animals with characteristics that become stronger through interaction. When information and culture are exchanged, more powerful and beneficial things emerge. In addition to containing information, Hanji also functioned as a building material. Even though it is thin paper, it blocks the wind and lets light through when attached to a window. Looking at the standard size of Hanji made in Korea, you can see how Hanji was traditionally consumed. It is said that Korea's Hanji specifications are modeled after the window specifications of traditional hanok. If you look at the specifications of paper, you can see that it has been used more as a construction material than for the function of containing information and knowledge. Paper, along with ink, is the first technology to transmit information.
섬유가 다 저쪽 밑으로 물살 따라 내려갔다고.
아, 방향이 이렇게.
네, 한 방향으로. 그래서 이제 그걸 이제 기둥 잡는다고 얘기를 하는 거고, 연물로 이제 두께를 잡는 거고. 하나, 둘, 셋. 하나, 둘, 셋. 박자를 맞춰서. 하나. 그러면 가져가서 양 햇볕에 놓으면 세게. 세게 해야지 쫙 펴지면서 쫙 붙어요.
Just as all digital storage media began with books, all current display technologies began with paper. Why does mankind want to leave records so much? Desire for eternal life. Looking at the hanji, craftsmanship that has been passed down from generation to generation for hundreds of years, I felt that information, including technology, was like a living virus or living organism. Technology and information seem to live forever, being passed on to future generations through the human body. I thought that if there is a soul, it might exist in the form of information. Ink is the tool that has been used the longest along with paper since the invention of writing. The records left behind by our ancestors are very limited. Before photography was invented, we could visually see the past through pictures drawn by artists. Considering the 200,000 years of human history, we know only a very short period of time about our ancestors. Ink was used as an important tool for recording not only human private records but also public documents and history. The power of ink was powerful. Human words can easily scatter into the air and be distorted in people's memories, but information written in ink has tremendous power the moment it is recorded. Sometimes it starts a war, sometimes it stops a war. All historical facts recorded through text until now were recorded in ink. Ink made by collecting soot from burning trees has fine particles, making it easy to use as liquid ink. With the use of paper and ink, methods of expression through letters have developed and sophisticated education has become possible. Ink played a great role in creating today's society and in transmitting and developing knowledge. Master Han Sang-muk, who makes ink, a traditional Oriental ink, is the only ink craftsman in Korea. With the traditional method of making ink having been cut off, Master Han Sang-muk is the only one who continues to make traditional Korean ink. Songyeon ink is made by mixing the soot from burning pine trees with glue and drying it. Its scent and color are different from other inks.
눌러서
예.
이렇게 똘똘똘똘 말아주세요.
네.
그래서 다시 눌러서 똘똘똘똘 말아주고 또 눌러서 똘똘똘똘 말아주고 이런 식으로 한번 해보세요.
네.
네, 그런 식으로. 예.
똘똘똘똘.
예. 그래서 다시 또 눌러서. 예. 그렇죠. 예, 그런 식으로. 예. 네. 네. 그때 네. 그렇죠. 여기다 넣고, 네. 뚜껑, 네. 위로 해서, 네. 눌러주시고.
Ink, which developed along with civilization, has different ways of making it in each culture, but its operation is the same. Master Han Sang-muk is said to have had several technical successors over the years, but all of them have left. He says that it is not easy to continue working because production requires a sense of mission and the economic reward is not large. Traditional skills are passed down through people, and when the flow is lost, the skills disappear. Humans evolved tools to survive. Who was the first human ancestor to use tools? Did he imagine the future of humanity with tools in his hands? Human used tools to increase his physical abilities. Even if a person holds only a long stick in his hand, his ability to survive in the harsh nature increases.
이게 이제 익숙해지면 나중에 눈으로 본 대로 그대로 얘가 가죠.
Humans were able to take on wild beasts, and by joining forces with their companions, they could hunt more efficiently or subdue larger animals.
피워주고 이렇게 해서 전체적인 모양을 둥근 모양을 이렇게 마련을 만드는 거예요.
Humans have a special ability to exercise imagination and curiosity. Once he learned how to use one tool, Human imagined the next tool he needed and created a new tool. Humans didn't just use the tools they made for hunting. human also invaded other tribes and used them in wars. History is records written by the winners. Some call it the history of invaders. All modern humans alive today can be said to be descendants of humans who won the war or preserved their lives. The bow was a weapon that enabled hunting at a greater distance than a handheld weapon. Technology that combines the characteristics of various materials, such as the bow, has made human-made tools dramatically more powerful.
여기도 그렇고 여기도 그렇고 미리 풀을 발라놔요.
네.
반짝반짝한 게 지금 불에 풀이 발려져 있는 상태예요.
아, 네.
이제 발라놓은 상태에서 열을 가해서
좀 유연해지는 느낌.
네, 열을 가해서 이제 압착을 하는 거죠.
The bow also showed considerable power as a weapon of war. The bow was a threatening weapon both as an offensive and defensive weapon.
어쨌든 풀이 이제 녹으면서
예,
서로.
그렇죠. 수용성이기 때문에 불에 풀이 물을 조금 이렇게 떠줘서 열이 이제 가면은 이제 약간 녹으면서 다시 붙는 거예요.
In the 15th century, gunpowder was invented in China and moved to Europe, where it developed into a gun-making technology. With the technological advancement of guns, bows began to be replaced by guns. Bows were also used as a means of communication. The bow's elasticity and arrows were used to deliver urgent news or to signal emergency situations. Currently, archery has become a sport that tests human concentration and shooting skills. It has established itself as a martial art that trains the mind and body and has established itself as a popular sport from a weapon. I visited a Hanji craftsman, learned how to make paper, and made the paper myself. I visited an ink maker, learned how to make ink, and made the ink by myself. I learned how to make a bow and shoot a bow from a bow craftsman. Place the paper made myself on the target board, dip the ink made myself on the arrow, and shoot it at the target. Technologies that have been passed down separately for hundreds of years meet at one point. One dot reminds me of one bit, like 0 and 1 in today's digital world. Just as information is transmitted through wireless internet, a dot transmitted by analog method.
I am a college student majoring in English literature. I study at school during the week. I work part-time at a cafe on weekends. Until last year, I worked translating simple documents and application forms. AI appeared and the world changed. The study abroad center that used to outsource work to me no longer gave me work. I looked for a part-time job at a cafe and came to work here. I am revising my dream career path. I receive an hourly wage from the cafe owner and participate in the purpose of this cafe. This has nothing to do with what I want to do in the future. I saw that ChatGPT was better at translating and capturing important points than me. I stopped being interested in languages. I decided to work at a cafe while making new plans for the future. I act according to the cafe's operating protocol and according to the situation. It is a mechanical movement of the same pattern every time a guest comes. Just like a play, everyone faithfully performs the performance as a guest. I sometimes think about this when I see so many people visiting a cafe. What are all the people at the cafe working so hard on? When did this person who works hard on computers start working on computers? Be replaced. Come to think of it, it was a world where efficiency was always superior through competition. We have lived a life very accustomed to being replaced. These days, I am teaching a new part-time worker how to make coffee. Since the work is not very difficult and handling coffee is easier than you think, most people can run a cafe with just 1 day of training. I thought it was very historical that this friend decided to work at a cafe. The choices I make are related to the environment in which my genes passed before I was born. The sum of all my choices and the sum of this friend's choices are met in the same place by teaching me how to make coffee. If I hadn't chosen to work at this cafe, this friend would have been taught how to make coffee by someone else. New novelties emerge and replace old novelties. If you watch cute couples, they act almost the same as most couples who visit cafes. It always feels amazing. A man who sometimes sits in a corner, spreads out documents and draws something. Why did that person choose that job? Work has always existed first, even before I was born. Sometimes I feel like I exist for just that. Even if it is not that man, it will be done through someone else. Just as many products at the supermarket are eventually sold out, even if I do not purchase them. The great force that guides life and the irresistible choices it makes determine life. Sometimes it feels like the invisible rules of the world and the laws of the universe have already decided what I will choose. There is no fixed value. Meaning is also replaced and reestablished. imagine the state where I can be the most free, regardless of any external conditions. Dreaming of a choice that will prove that I am fully myself.